usually describe billions as building a new kind of trust layer. So, using ZK proofs so humans, AI agents can prove that they're unique without giving up personal data. So, that's kind of a big shift from KYC or centralized verification that we're used to. So, how do you explain like billions in your own words, and what problems are you solving?
First of all, I love that characterization. I think it is totally spot on. So at Billions, we are building the first universal human and AI network built with mobile first verification. So you can prove who you are from the comfort of your own device. Exactly as you described, you can, keep the data that makes you private and only share it with the parties who need to see it. And for everyone else who needs to know whether you're over a certain age, whether you're in a certain location, or traits and capabilities that you have, you can share zero knowledge proofs. You can prove that you have those traits and capabilities without revealing the underlying information. And now we can also extend that to the AI agents and the non-human actors who represent about 50% of internet traffic today.
There's this wave of AI agents coming into crypto. We're at this moment where bots, humans, and autonomous agents, they're all mixing together. And without like a way to verify what's what, that breaks down pretty fast. So from where you sit, how does AI fit into what Billions is building and where you guys are headed?
So, in the same way that every human has an identity, so too does every agent. We just haven't standardized the way that we name and recognize them across the internet today, especially with the advent of capabilities like stablecoin payments or machine money, as I lovingly refer to them. It's really important that we be able to identify and verify our counterparties, whether we're
Right.
moving capital, whether we're moving important data. And it's also really important, for example, that my agent be able to discern that it is in fact talking to your agent and not a non-human actor who is misrepresenting itself as, as behaving on your behalf or being delegated by you. And this becomes even more important in the instances of governments or enterprises who are using these technologies to be able to better serve their customers and their citizens. And so unless we bring a verifiable layer of trust to our interactions with agents, we are going to be in a really tough spot. So that's why we as Billions
Yes.
Network are here to save the internet in the age of AI.
One of the big open questions is trust. And if we get to a world where AI agents can hold wallets and move assets, which some products and protocols are already building towards that, would you personally feel comfortable delegating real transactions to an AI in its current state today?
Today, I've
Yeah.
got a lot of questions when it comes to verifiability and trust. However, I certainly hope that that is a very near future reality for all of us. I
Mm.
personally do not want to keep click trading, pressing buttons to move value around the internet and having to be in the right place, the right time, with the right set of information to be able to get whether it's the best price for a trade or to be able to execute even more complicated logic. And so, in this next era of the digital butler, where we will be
Yeah.
able to have, the precise actions of agents behave on our behalf and to get us the best outcomes, whether it's for purchases or for discovery, we're going to have to figure out how to delegate not only to single agents, but also to allow those agents to interact with other agents and multi-agent workflows. We
Right.
cannot have accountability without identity. And so that's why identity and AI are actually inextricably linked if we want to make this future a reality.
Are there any concrete examples that you've already seen where AI is creating value on chain today?
We were talking about Kaido earlier, and I actually think that discoverability for user content and creator content, as well as assessment of the impact and relevance of that content, is a really cool way that I've started to see AI utilized in more of a qualitative context. I also think that in terms of content discovery, taking the labor out of search or inverting the labor of search so that applications and even content can find its way to you as opposed to you having to manually type in words to a search bar and sift through link after link. That seems like a really cool way that we're already starting to see implementations of these tools.
Do you think maybe in the next cycles, maybe 2 to 3 years from now, that this will expand outside of DeFi?
Certainly. And I think
Yeah.
that it is not only likely, it is inevitable. And I don't think we're going to even have to wait for that long. I think probably in the next
Mm.
3 to 6 months, we're going to start to see more performance related benchmarking. We're going to start to see more results oriented development and, quite frankly, expectations from users users and individuals like you and me who are, getting used to the novelty of these capabilities and demanding more out of the technology that serves us, especially in such sensitive places as, on-chain financial interaction.
A lot of the conversation around AI and crypto, when I look on crypto Twitter right now, feels split, even outside of crypto. Either people dismiss it as hype or they say that it's going to absolutely change everything. From your vantage point, what's the biggest misconception that you see?
One of the biggest misconceptions is that decentralized ledger technologies, like blockchains and the advent of AI are unrelated, are totally independent and don't benefit from one another. In fact, I think they are the yin and yang of the frontier of technology. I think they are two of the best, uniquely best suited to pair with one another. On the one hand, we have the infinite generative capabilities and non-determinism of AI. And on the other hand, we have the deterministic, verifiable scarcity of blockchains. And so when it comes to being able to establish guardrails, documentation, and verifiability around AI, I see no tool set better suited than blockchains. I also think that when it comes to the development of new generations of applications, users and the market in general will demand a higher degree of verifiability, from our games to our financial markets, to everyday applications that we use right now. So little of those processes are independently verifiable. We are all operating on the trust me bro internet because we do not have the capacity to be able to prove accuracy and, for example, like verifiable randomness. Many of these environments that rely upon that existing in order for that game to operate or this market to function correctly. So introducing this layer of verifiability alongside a more personalized internet, I think will bring meaningful trust and new capabilities.
And on the other side of excitement is risk. Every new wave of tech has unintended consequences. So what do you think is the biggest concern or blind spot? It'd be interesting to hear some of your thoughts there.
So I think one of the blind spots when it comes to the performance of agentic workflows, especially in the crypto space, is literally just that: performance. I have yet to see benchmarks that illustrate how intent frameworks and solver networks outperform high frequency trading strategies or even manual trading on a large scale. Now, not to say that this is not possible or this isn't even already the case, it just isn't a standard set of data or benchmarking that our industry has yet adopted because so much of this technology is so nascent.
Since we're building in the middle of this really pivotal moment, what role do you hope Billions is playing in the ecosystem?
So a little alpha leak here. Billions will be releasing in the very near future some awesome tools that we've built to make the process of accountability and discoverability for agents even easier. So there's a framework that our team created late last year called Deep Trust that makes it easy for you to assign a unique identity, unique identifier to an instance of an AI agent, and then relate it back to the individual or party or even group of people who are responsible for it or who control it. That also includes what we lovingly refer to as KYA, or Know Your Agent, the set of basic information about the model, how it was trained, information about the data that went into it, things like audits. And so basically having a standard form of discoverability to determine, who your non-human counterparty is and where they are accountable. But even more than that, we have also developed an approach that includes a trust registry, or you can kind of think of this as like the on-chain phone book for agents to be able to discover and interact with, better understand an agent and its context. We're also rolling out agent to agent reputation. It's sort of like a report card or a list of past interactions that an agent has engaged in so that you can better assess the quality of outcomes that it has delivered.
More broadly, what infra do you think still needs to exist before AI and crypto can really click at scale, maybe in the next 6 months?
So I think this walks back a little bit into what we think about every single day at Billions, but I think a layer of identity and accountability for AI is essential if we want to facilitate multi-agent workflows and we want to allow agents to act on behalf of individuals and organizations. And we've already seen how the absence of such capabilities is leading to some really weird business challenges for organizations that want to adopt AI. So for example, recently a Canadian airline incorporated ChatGPT and, LLM element into some of their customer service, but without appropriate parameters and accountability, it actually turned out that that chat interface started making up airplane tickets that didn't exist. And because that was occurring on the homepage of that airline, they were actually held legally accountable for that output and had to honor that output because there really were no rules, were no parameters to provide clear guidance for how to handle that outcome. So as, simple and straightforward as something like a plane ticket is, you can imagine that in other environments, such as university scholarships, such as loans, such as vehicle licensing. These sorts of outcomes can be incredibly consequential for the parties involved and do not have the type of margin of error that can be addressed in a legal settlement and handled amicably. And so as we start to bring more automated workflows and more AI-enabled capabilities into sensitive spaces, especially those that affect our lives as people, it's going to be vital that we have protections to ensure their safe execution.
Well, I've been keeping up with Billions, and I'm definitely going to be watching you guys moving forward for sure. But this has been pretty amazing. I really appreciate you being the first guest. It sets such a strong tone for what this series could be.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. It was an absolute pleasure to kick off this party with you. I am really excited for all of our adventures together, so we could spend a little time scheming on the side after this conversation wraps. But really appreciate all your time and attention. And thank you so much to everybody who took some time out of their busy days to watch. My name is Evin. I'm co-founder of Billions Network. You can follow us at Billions_NPWK. I'm always online at Proven Authority, and I will see all you beautiful people on chain.